Welcome to Asylum Atelier, welcome to another stream, welcome to Creative Discourse. Nailed it for first time. I was able to do this introduction without stuttering and thinking about what I'm going to say next. So it's going to be a good day probably. Or maybe since I did this very simple task successfully, everything else is just going to go out of the window. But camera is working, so that's a good thing. It's bright blue sky. I think it was like 2 seconds ago, but I see some not necessarily clouds, but it's kind of like a whale of that. When it's really really cold, you can see the coldness in the air. So that's what's happening outside of the windows. That's the daily update on a center city weather. So it's kind of cool when it comes to the weather. So I have a lot of light today, luckily. So everything that I was not able to do yesterday and day before, and last couple weeks because of that shortage of a good weather that I was promised to receive from Netherlands. I didn't get it. Today it arrived, so I appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to paint a little bit more today and get more into that right side of the canvas and continue with what we started yesterday about that visual narrative and creativity and creative solutions to to these problems that we have when it comes to not necessarily just painting, but also communicating that visual narrative, that story or that idea, that thought, that philosophy, that feeling, the emotion, fill the blank, whatever you're trying to communicate with another person. Or perhaps it does not need to be about the communication. It might be about I just need to get this out of my system, and I have to record it because it's an important part of I don't know of the journey that I'm on right now. So whatever reason you have, whatever is that that drives you to paint or create, it's something that we definitely going to it's definitely not definitely, but I'm going to do my best to address that, which brings me to the most important part of these streams, is that I call this our stream because it's about us figuring it out, difficult problems, or maybe not even difficult, but hard to analyze situation with our creative work. And there's that saying that well, I don't think it's saying, but in my native tongue we like to say that two brains are more than one. So I welcome you, or I'm actually encouraging you rather, to participate with this creative discourse that we used to call painting discourse before. But I quickly realized that actually I am being inspired by musicians, writers, photographers, sculptors, architects, digital artists. So there's so many things that that are directly or indirectly connected to art, that it's really difficult to just pinpoint it to this is only for people that paint. These kind of atelier sessions that we have here, they are not only for painters necessarily. This is for people or artists or students. They want to explore different parts of their own creative endeavors, maybe ones that they were afraid to explore, maybe the ones that they were not sure if there's going to bring them a good result. So this is something like a safe space like that safe house or the asylum that supposed to help you just disassociate for a second with all that community pressure and people judging you and doing commenting these days. That's probably the worst thing that can happen to you, that someone comments your work, and just freely explore where you want to be. We talked about Star Trek yesterday a lot, and that's exactly that that very important quote when it comes to Star Trek. Even though you might not be necessarily a Star Trek fan or like space. It's not about the space. It's not about a space exploration. It's actually exploration in general, right? There is a lot of things that happen in that TV show that were influential, not in terms of sci-fi, but in terms of how society thinks. So I feel I remember that when I watched it as an adult, comparing to watching it as a child, there is a lot of social commentary that was happening there in that kind of to me, incredibly a creative way in terms of that. Oh, we're not going to use a different races. We're not going to use a different religions. We're not going to use a different I don't know, social groups or the countries. We're just going to use, instead of all this that we have on this planet, we're just going to use a random random, non-existing, imaginary cultures and societies in the space, which I found really interesting when it comes to commenting on what's happening right now, because they dealt with a lot of things there. And sometimes I think that Star Trek for me as a child wasn't always the most entertaining when it comes to action. But as an adult, it is cheesy maybe right now to think that way, because a lot of these things are kind of outdated. But some of the episodes dated actually or aged very well. So, but I don't want to talk about a Star Trek. This is not this is not a Star Trek stream, but could be one day that we could just simply chill and talk about differences between Star Trek, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and all these cool. How would I even put this? I would actually add. Let me add this. Last time I saw something like this that really that I really enjoyed was District 9, which I found kind of interesting to see. Aliens being actually part of a slum or ghetto, which was kind of crazy. I really liked that movie very, very much, or that idea rather. And it was kind of cool to see this. So and I actually like to. I was mentioning that creativity. This is where that kind of I really support these kind of ideas that they took chance and it might have just be really, really bad, but somehow that creativity of people that worked on it, somehow they put it together, they pushed themselves, that they created that environment, that all the conditions helped them to actually create this. So and that's how I like to think about even working in the atelier with other artists or students when it comes to academies, because you enter that space and you feel that that people are kind of tuned to a certain frequency, that we're creating here, and you can see left, you can look left, you can look right, and you see something that you either like or dislike, something that you want to copy and you want to understand how the person did it, or something that I see that this is not working for me, so I should probably stay away from this, or maybe get deeper into that idea and adjust it so it will actually work for me and for what I do. In other words, welcome, and let's get into that painting. I have my pointy stick ready because I would like to talk about a couple things that happened yesterday specifically. And that was, I was working on that idea of that right side painting, and I started to lay down pigments and colors, and it was dark, and we you know, I know that we talked about, and this should be about the visual narrative, but we talked a little bit about that. Um, we talked a little bit about that. Hmm, uh, about how to approach a painting creatively, and we talked about the fact that this dark shape, it's not necessarily dark shape in terms of that you know, it's a shadow. It's not dark shape that it's concrete. It's not the dark shape that would resemble anything. It's simply on that very primal level um, some visual interest that's supposed to turn your head when you see it, you know, in your peripheral vision, right? So you might all experience this in the museum or in the car show, whatever that is. It could be on the street. There is something interesting that it's not happening directly where you're looking at, but it's in the corner of your eye, and it's somehow it is such a powerful image that you have to turn your head and you have to look there. So this is what the composition is about for me specifically. It's really about that first visual impact, that when you enter the museum, when you enter the first room, you are suddenly overwhelmed by a lot of paintings. So naturally you think, oh, I'm just going to go step by step. But then when you let everything go and you don't follow the the arrows that curator prepared for you and the path that you should take, and you, because you already done it, like, right? We're painters, we go to museums every week at least twice, right? The ones that something is around. So you enter there, and then you think about, oh, this is most powerful visual image that is that I'm drawn to on very primal level without even thinking. Whether it's figures or whether it's still lifes or portraiture or I don't know, anatomy study or plein air. That's what I was looking for. So that's where the composition starts. And if you can dissociate yourself from that literal meaning of you know, this is not how would I put this? If you can forget for a second, dissociate is probably better. I don't know. I'm looking for a better English word that would describe it a little bit more accurately. For lack of better words in my personal English dictionary, let's use dissociate. So you or stop thinking about that this is a person, and you think strictly about the shape and how that shape move through the painting, and you can get even deeper how that shape make you quote unquote feel. It's something that really triggers that creativity. I talked a lot about, you know, daydreaming and how daydreaming helped me to actually come up with ideas for a composition, or how daydreaming helping me to. It's very dangerous. Daydream, please use it responsibly, right? Don't daydream and drive. That would be, you know, that would be actually. No, I'm not going to change the topic. I'm going to stick. I promised myself I'm going to stick with the topic. I'm not going to go on these tangents here. So if you can if you can spark that creativity within abstract shape. And I brought example yesterday with me having fun with games like Diablo when I was young, even though I didn't understand at that time. I couldn't understand English. I couldn't understand what the story is, but the connection or connection, the like when I think about Diablo, and I would think about like it was revolutionary when it comes to interface. That it was you could actually it wasn't turn based. It was actually real time fights. So that was really it got me engaged, even though it got very repetitive later on. But let's not get there. For that age, or these days is repetitive, but at that age when you have to actually click and point, and then you had to wait, and then it was like a kind of an algorithm that it was more like a chess game. And it's not like I've always played chess. It's actually my first memories from a childhood. It's playing chess with father, and in the kitchen table. But that first Diablo was such an interactive thing that it hooked me in with the mechanics of that game, right? So that was revolutionary on its own. Then I remember, and I have a goosebumps, so I can prove it, goosebumps right here. It was music. I remember the music, and it's in my head, and I can hear the little like that little like those strings, like I can't really reproduce that sound, but everybody who played Diablo or it's fan of these kind of games know that sound. It's just a kind of it's, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, I'm sorry about that. And I should stop, because I'm gonna have from 2 viewers, it's gonna be like 1 only, because I'm just gonna eliminate everybody who is not in that niche. But anyway, this is part of that creativity. So they put together such a complete package of entertainment. And like I said, it was the mechanics. Then it was the sound. I remember letters. I remember O's with the cross in the middle. It was just, and from that moment, my whole school year, all my O's were with that cross. And if you guys didn't do it, then I don't know what you were doing when you were playing Diablo, right? And then there is that options to choose from, being a strong, brutal, really big hero that can fight close combat, or you can be a mage that that has a limited options when it comes to defending himself, but he can bring enormous amount of AOE and DPS, or using a knowledge as a tool, as a power. And I remember using, for me, it was like, well, he's doing what? He's using a knowledge, and you have to bring the knowledge up in order to make him stronger, not the muscles. It really kind of made me realize that maybe somewhere there, I don't need to be the tallest or the biggest. There's other tools that I can compare myself with, and I can compete actually on these levels. So yeah, Diablo did a lot for me when it comes to even, and that was probably one of the first things that kind of helped me to realize that, oh, there is something in games that it's also creative, because it wasn't random. I'm pretty sure that they really think hard. That's because it can't be accident. It cannot be accident that you have a perfect sound, that you have that really developed ideas and story, and you have these new mechanics. The conditions were right. So not ranting about first Diablo, any longer. But it's more like an example about this. But like I said, the music, and I wanted to, no pun intended, it struck a chord, and it struck a chord in my in my head as well, and I will never forget that. It was just from that moment, the only thing that I wanted, and actually I haven't done it yet, and I have to do it right now. I remember that there were no cell phones, but when I get older, I remember the first Nokia. Everybody had the Nokia 3310, right? Everybody had it, and the only thing that I wanted, and I couldn't get it, I didn't know how to get it, was to have that struck of that chord have as my text message ringtone. I remember that at one point the ringtones, when you had a different ringtone, you were something in the school, right? Between kids. So so I know you guys are laughing at me. This is a deep dive into history of my. This is asylum, right? This is for letting out all these suppressed memories. But this one wasn't suppressed, but it kind of explains a lot, right? So you heard about the ringtone triangle? Yes, yes, it was big. It was so massive. It was really massive. And then I remember that I was the first one, and this is what I did in the school. My Nokia dropped, and I didn't know that was possible. I thought that I broke it, but it kind of, those two panels, the front one and the back one, just disconnected. Broke off from the phone, doesn't really matter. And I realized, oh, I have a plastic surface that I can paint on and make it custom. So I don't need to spend money. I can actually take my I was working with this. I was having fun with the small models of planes and so on and so forth. So I had colors. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna make my own case, custom made and custom painted by myself. I felt, you have a perfect ringtone and you have your custom case. I mean, you were on the on top of the mountain screaming loud that I'm the whale in this pool of small fish, right? So these are these happy accidents that kind of help me, and I'm trying to not analyze them right now, but I'm trying to bring you that I'm pretty sure that you have some of these in your own, in your, either it's from school, from childhood, it doesn't really matter. They are there because something drove you to this point, and for me it was probably these little things. And like I said, very important part was that I enjoyed. That's what I'm trying to say, very slowly and with a lot of words, is that not being able to read the text of that story that was happening there did not prevent me from having fun creating my own. I have never played Dungeons and Dragons. I don't even know what that is, truth to be told, because that culture wasn't in my country at all. I've never read the comics when I was young because we didn't have them. I always jealous on guys that they could get comic books from different countries, and we treated them like a regular issue, nothing revolutionary, not number one, not like a sign or any comic book. It could be, I don't know, it could be Donald Duck was like a I don't know, like the most precious, the most expensive, never opened, sealed a comic book for hundreds of or thousands of dollars. So yeah, it was that, and we we just had to make best out of stuff that we had. And the reason, like I said, coming back to painting or to these creative solutions, it means that sometimes sometimes if things are right, well, let me rephrase this. So and I'm going back to Diablo. The font for a letters that I didn't understand as a word was perfect for me visually. The mechanics of playing the game was awesome. Sound was superb. It was just I couldn't even comprehend how cool that is. Then visuals, and then I had the missing link, which was the story that that I couldn't understand because it was in English. But it's still you can see that if you take some parts of the equation, it still worked. And that's the thing. I was ready to sacrifice not understanding for other advantages that game brought to me. I don't know if this makes sense, but what I'm trying to say is that perfection does not necessarily mean that the painting is perfect. Perfection means, when it comes to, I wouldn't even call it perfection. If painting can work, even though you, as a viewer, do not understand every little itsy bitsy piece of, like why this pigment is right here, and with all the details, it is not as important as when you put all things together. It including that missing parts, is just going to bring you joy, and you're going to cherish that idea and the memory for years to come. I'm sorry, this is what I need to do, get out of my chest, because we started with that Diablo conversation yesterday, and I was thinking about that whole day. And this comes to I want to point out that this is so important when it comes to art, that you don't need to have it's going to get to me how to describe this properly, because like I said, most of these things that I'm talking about, it's really the edge of my own understanding. So perhaps tomorrow we're going to continue with the Diablo explanations. Let's get into this rather. So I have this shape, and I'm going to keep working on it. Yesterday I was working with the cool colors or pigments that they are. When it comes to hue, they're leaning towards that desaturated bluish grayish part, and the reason why I was doing it, because previous layer was was leaning more towards higher saturation, warmer tones, warmer hues. So I'm going to probably continue with the cool pigments, or that cool variation. And the reason is because I haven't had a chance to do a lot here. It's just I just marked it up, and I think that you can see it better than yesterday. It was kind of very, very dark, but you can start seeing the silhouettes of the. And here, this might be something that I would point out. You do not look right now, or I don't think about silhouettes of figures. I'm thinking about silhouettes of a creative solution to a composition, or you might call it design. So that's what I want you to focus on. That's what I really want you to put down. That's what I really want you to understand when I'm talking about these abstract things, because that's what it is. This is not a silhouette of a person, that I'm looking for. And you can see how, let me do this. Either way, I need to get closer to my palette, because yesterday I remember what was annoying was that I had to go back and forth to the palette. It was so far away. So let me move it. Closer to here, because I don't think that we need to see all of other things. I feel with this pointy stick like a teacher in the school. So here we have this and here we have that. It's not that way. This is actually my mole stick, but I lost the top part somewhere. I don't know, when I was probably fencing here behind the scenes, because sometimes I just fence for fun. When you think about that shape, and like I said, when you look at the figure right here, it's just a charcoal shape that is just like really weird lines that they don't really make sense. You don't understand what I'm trying to do here. That's okay, because I'm not trying to paint or draw a person. I am trying to find the shape that relates to everything that I have on the paintings behind, and actually find the shape that relates to them as well. And this works, like I mentioned, this works not necessarily right now, but hopefully it's going to work as a painting that stands on its own, as a separate kind of a journey. And that's when I decided that I have to push this guy. So this guy right now, so he's going to be a main person of this composition. So in this episode of Cyril and Methodius' journey to Great Moravia, we're going to deal with these guys here, and we're gonna combine that visual narrative with the solutions, with the creative solutions. And these creative solutions are here to support that creative narrative. Sounds like me randomly doing stuff like fencing. Yeah. Well, because it's still that you have this in your hand immediately. Immediately, you want to just do some fancy moves, on guard. Yeah. Let's get into this then, so I don't really waste this precious sunlight here. Let me maybe adjust it a little bit so it's a little bit more comfortable for me to work. And you can also see what I'm doing a little better maybe. Just remind me please that I have another painting behind, so I don't push it back and tear the painting behind that. Yep, you gotta feel like you are awesome sometimes. Exactly, that's my point, and I'm really happy that I have you here to just sums it up so eloquently again. you gotta feel that you are awesome. Absolutely, you're right. Absolutely. You should see. I'm not going to say that. I would. I wanted to say it, and then it got really wrong in my head saying it out loud. Because it's a double and tantrum. What's the double and? Well, it would have. You might. Nothing. Let's just drop the topic. So I'm going to use a couple helpers again. I'm going to refer back to Rembrandt because it's Rembrandt. I think that there is no additional information needed. And I also going to use my library. I was thinking and searching through some of my files with draperies and anatomical references and so on and so forth. So give me a second to just okay. And also, where's my tea? And by the way, I hope that you don't hear the same guy from yesterday playing outside. But he's there. Trust me, he's there, I can hear him. Speaking of draperies, I need to start collecting that references. Yes, you definitely should. If you have, because I think honestly, for me at this point, draperies are kryptonite, a heel of Achilles for those of you who are a little bit more eloquent and posh. And for the rest of us, it's a kryptonite. All right, so let me look at this. You remember yesterday I had a bunch of crazy ideas what I want to do, how I want them to walk, and how do I want to solve these problems here. And it's always there's just evening before. Everything seems that so many great ideas. And then I came here today, and all these crazy ideas that I have right now, I have to somehow like calm it down a little bit and make, again, educated wishes about what I want to do. So first, I'm going to clean my canvas. Why? Well, because I have a lot of random textures that yesterday I was experiencing with. And I don't want these textures there. Remember, it's easier to adjust soft edge while it's wet, or adjust your edges to being soft while it's wet, than trying to make soft edge out of a hard edge. It's really, really difficult. Not impossible, but it's difficult, and especially if you're looking for some specific transitions between these shapes. Another important thing is that, as you can see right now very clearly, nothing is set in stone. I mean, seriously, I can start, painting this, the problem of painting this face, it's not in his face, it's in that right expression and then right feeling. So imagine that yesterday I would have an idea in my head, and I would not draw this, but think of this. Oh, I'm going to put this guy here, and I'm going to do this. All right, I thought of it. It's a great idea. Let me start painting his face because I know it's going to be here. I can't stress this more. How would I put this? I can't stress this more than. I think that, the Diablo completely, threw me off. I just want to go and play Diablo. No Diablos today. What I'm trying to say is that you locking up yourself into painting this portrait yesterday, but well, let me put it into my example, right? I'm just going to talk strictly about me and myself only, because narcissism, right? If I were to paint this concretely, and if I really wanted to, even if I were 100% positive that, even if this portrait belongs here, I would never allow myself, because of I'm giving myself a benefit of doubt. I would never allow myself, I shouldn't allow myself to start painting a portrait right here before I'm 100% sure that this figure, or rather shape that represents, that later will be, hopefully, a figure. These figures right here and this figure is placed. But since I was thinking about him as a main character of this separate canvas, of this separate story, of this separate episode in the first season, is I just I just I just made him lighter so I can separate him from background that I can look from a distance and evaluate it. And especially yesterday when it was really, really dark. I focused more on anatomy and stuff, but I can't paint models without clothes all the time. Well, I don't want to. Yes, you're absolutely right. But here is the thing: I have the same problem with the clothes, but having a proper anatomy and understanding, and not necessarily even anatomy. I wouldn't even call it anatomy necessarily, but understanding of how shifts in the weight in human body can be translated through offsetting a balance. That's just that. I'm just trying to give you 10 years of anatomy in one sentence. Or I'm trying to give you 10 years of struggling with anatomy in one sentence. Where it boils down to for me is in weight distribution when it comes to figures. Nothing will excites me more than seeing figure not painted beautifully, but weighted properly, if that makes sense. And by weighted, I mean that it carries a weight. It carries. It's somehow it's bringing something from. Like it's bringing common ground from real world into this imaginary space. And the reason why I drilled anatomy so much is because I wanted to understand how body works and where it's leaning and how it's leaning. And it's especially because, and this is something why when I made the decision that I'm going to move from LA to St. Petersburg to Imperial Academy, because I saw Ilyas Repin a photograph. In the book that was called Orientalism, and I saw it there. For some reason, this book, this picture was there between so-called Orientalists. So they showed Ilyas Repin Burlaks on Volga, I think it's translation to English, I'm not sure. And it's the very famous one, like these peasants are carrying a heavy boat with ropes upstream. It's such a powerful image that I saw, and I would say, what is happening here? Every one of these people there were in the different stage of their, first of all, their life, and then also the motion and expression. Let me Google it and type it down for you to make it easier. But yesterday I was talking about Aivazovsky, and today it's Ilya Repin. It's just, what can be better? What can be better than days spent by talking about Ilya Efimovich Repin? It's called Volga Boatman in English. Okay. And you can see immediately, and I'm looking at it right now, how much actually I took how big of an inspiration I took from that painting. I didn't even know that it had to be somewhere, somewhere in the back of my mind. And I saw it then in a this is the Volga Boatman. It's just Volga. It's a river that runs through a territory of Russia. Well, at that time it was a Russian empire. I'm sorry, Russian Empire, and it's such a powerful image. It is just like I said, every figure was different, and I saw it live in person in Russian Museum it's called Russian Museum in St. Petersburg, and it's just stunning. It's stunning. Not only that, I know that there are maybe technically better paintings, maybe this and that. I understand that it's just, some people think that maybe Ilya Repin was overrated as a painter. Okay, it's opinions. Yeah, I understand that. I'm not saying that you have to agree with me. But when it comes to expression, and right after when I saw this, I Googled Ilya Repin and I followed this painting, and then I saw the one that's called it's what's the name of that painting? I'm trying to think of it. It's a painting where they're writing a letter to the Cossacks writing a letter. Love the gesture he managed to get with those group of people. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I am interested in anatomy, to get there, to understand how body works, how transfers and shifts weight and body, and that gesture of how much you can push it to create something interesting. And when you really look, and this is why I love this painting, because when you look, every one of them, it's in a different stage of his life. Some are leaning more, some are leaning less. Some are older. There is a young guy right there. There is kind of he's kind of I don't want to say rebelling, but he's just like adjusting. And you can see these really the boatmen that they were already been doing this for a while. They're doing it like mules. They don't even. It just people were reduced to cattle. It's crazy how much thought is into how deep you can go, how many layers it has for me. And this painting works as a shape first. And then if you want to, and if you are willing to go deeper, then you have a whole new universe open to you, and you can think about these figures, what they do, why are they there. It's just, and then you read about the history and what was happening there, and that painting is like a gateway to understanding not only history but also where we are right now and how good our lives are compared to theirs. So we should be thankful for we have our problems, but really putting my problems into perspective and seeing this. I'm golden. I have nothing to worry about. I have nothing to be angry. I can just, walk with smile every day and try to maybe help others rather than just complaining about stuff. So yeah. So this was actually this painting and the painting that I was talking about the one about Cossacks. Let me Ilya Repin. Yeah, it's about, yeah, I think it's when you Google Ilya Repin and Cossacks, you're gonna see this beautiful, beautiful painting, and it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, when you really look into it, Ilya Repin put a ball, or not balls, they were shaved head in the foreground from behind, so you see the back part of the head, almost as a focal point that you can't miss it when you're like next to a focal point, because focal point is a actually the story goes as far as I remember from what I read about it from like this is actually a historical event. There was a war, and right now, the Cossacks, the fighters, they were told, and again, correct me on this because I might be wrong, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. This is just maybe it's just maybe it is just a funny story that people created to make it a little bit more legitimate. But the story goes, I think, that they receive a warning that war is upon them and they should go away because some other ruler is going to take over their land. And since these were Cossacks, very, very famous fighters, they asked priest to write the letter to that ruler, come and get us, we are here. And everybody started to chime in, they're all laughing, and they are creating insults to that ruler, that we're here, we're not afraid. And the priest is writing it down, and they're all laughing, and they're preparing for that fight, they're not afraid. It's a really, really, really interesting story behind that. But you can see on that painting, you can see that a moment I saw how the on left side of this painting, I'm sorry, on the right side it's a figure standing in a it's kind of a fur coat, like a white fur coat. That is painted so well. It feels like a material. That's that old school. You've been painting your whole life, you dedicated everything to yourself to understand what the materials are, how to use the pigments properly, how to apply the bravura with the brush, how he understood, like there is a mess on that painting. It looks like a broken color everywhere, and somehow when you look at it, everything is there. It might not be the most, like a colorful and saturated and so on and so forth, but and Repin was a teacher of Nikolai Feshen, if I'm not mistaken, and again, double check me on this one. And Feshen took this and pushed it even more and made it even better. It's just seeing these paintings live, trust me, you will appreciate let me take it back, let me rephrase that. You will, because I used to go there every day. And don't tell anybody there is a back door that you can get in, and you don't need to waste your time in the line. And I had a friend. It's through the coat room. It's all the way from back. I don't think that you can enter it from there anymore. I used to spend hours in the museum just being in awe, looking at that, like true mastery when it comes to a paint application. And after school, after classes, after painting, sometimes I just, sometimes when you are at the university, some lectures get canceled. Immediately when I saw the lecture was canceled, I ran to Metro and get there I show my student, show them that I'm a student, so they gave me a free ticket, and I didn't have to wait in the line. It was awesome. It was awesome, and I spent hours there, till they asked me politely, "Dude, you have to go." So, and the same goes for when I was in LA. I used to do this with Getty Museum, with Northern Simon Museum, with LACMA. There's plenty of beautiful museums in LA as well. So it's just, I honestly, I miss that. I miss that a lot. So anyway, again, getting back to actual painting, because I really, really need to paint. I haven't had the chance to. I actually prepared something. I was experimenting with the pigments before, because I was asked by some of you to do a little demonstration. Excuse me, to do a little demonstration on color mixing. So I was preparing that. So hopefully I will have a time to get to that as well. Maybe at the end, because I really need to paint right now into this. But anyway, the important part is that hopefully, while I was ranting for an hour about Diablo, and then about composition, and then about Ilya Repin, which is very important. Right now, I'm looking at that Ilya Repin painting and Cossacks. And he actually has a similar idea of the sky that I have. I'm probably butchering his painting already. That's crazy. I didn't even know that. It was really in the back of my mind, probably. Anyway, all right. Good to know. I have to see. It was somewhere in the back of my back of my head. And also, I want to show you. Right now, when you're looking on your screens, because I'm looking on the screen on my computer, and you can see that when you squint, or when I'm squinting right now on my painting, all these areas, like let's say when I'm looking here, like when you look here, 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 and here, that's the same value. When you squint your eyes, it's very close to on same value. Of course, there is a very light spot right here. Yes, because I went with the brush there. There is a light spot right here because canvas is showing through. But what I'm trying to say, like when you think about this and this, these are almost the same values, but automatically you're looking at this like a completely different a different thing. It's because it has different temperatures. It's not only that it has different temperatures. I used desaturated blue against desaturated. Actually, it's not even desaturated. I used blue mixed with white against blue mixed with red. That was applied transparently. So think about it for a second when it comes to painting. What I am aiming for here, and you might use this as a powerful tool in your painting in your paintings as well, is that I used a direct painting method with blue mixed with black opaquely against transparency of a dark pigment in order to create interest on a flat surface that would otherwise be flat. This is, when you think about the painting, this is what Impressionists do all the time. All over the place. Probably the best example for me, when it really, really clicks or shines, it's Sorolla. Very famous Spanish painter. These Spanish painters, Velázquez, Sorolla, Goya. They were onto something, these guys. They were onto something. You say such a powerful thing. You have powerful Italians with, you know, Titian, Raphael, Da Vinci, Michelangelo, of course. You know, that goes without saying. Then you have Spanish with Velázquez, Goya, Sorolla. You have a Netherlands, which is, you know, Dutch painters. I'm just, you know, I'm sorry. I started to daydream. My apologies. I started to daydream and think about, these different painters, and I was recalling their paintings from a memory. Just to go through the list, who am I copying right now, and whose idea I'm stealing subconsciously. So let me get back to this. So I'm cleaning the surface because there are areas. What is going on? I want to clean up this before it gets really, really dry. So it would be way difficult for me to and again, multiple technique. There are areas where I'm ironing the paint into a canvas like so, and using my pigment as an iron, my palette knife as an iron. There's areas where I want to scrape it completely, and even you see I'm scraping as much as I can. Not that much is changing. Not that much is changing. It's more like a preparing surface for another layer, rather than anything else. There's a little piece right here. Because I want to set this figure into the environment, and I want to work on this figure right here as well. So, and you can see the randomness in the pigments. Right? I don't know if you can, but I can. When I'm looking at that, there is blues, there are greens, there are yellows, there are kind of really just the grays. I see a world of red right here, purples around here. So it's kind of again, I'm in the territory of the kind of underpainting that I did with a that we did with scrap materials that, you know, when we just randomly apply them on a pigment. This is also randomly applied on the canvas or surface, painting surface. This is the same way. So let me get those references, because it's really time to paint. Now let me clean my palette. So first order of business for me was to clean my canvas. No matter what I thought that, you know, the brush strokes that I put there, they're still there. You see, like, I did not scrape them. The beauty of a brush stroke is still there. I just adjusted that texture there. So please, if you want to make sure, or if you're not sure with your painting, and if you're not sure that if this is going to be the final version of this, or if you're like me, that you like to improve your painting as you paint and as you progress, this is very important technique to take into consideration. You don't need to do it, but it's definitely going to solve some of your problems later on when you paint. Because right now I have a smooth surface. It's still wet, you know, it's still wet, but I can right now come here with a pigment that it's not necessarily thick. It's not necessarily impasto. I can work with transparencies without being afraid that I'm dragging a big batch of color or you know, ruining the textures that were there previously. Excuse me. And I'm going to right now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to what's happening? And right now, if you check out that scrap material bed painting Friday that we did, I'm going to do the same thing right now. I'm just going to take this abstract painting, and I'm going to find something that I like, and I'm going to adjust the shapes. And you know, if I like those shapes and I'm satisfied with where they are, tomorrow I can start, you know, developing not necessarily details, but developing maybe facial features. Maybe I'll be able to do it today. I don't know. I'm kind of slow, as you know, when it comes to this. So I don't really want to, you know, jump ahead necessarily. So let's see. And maybe we could introduce a little bit more of that, a little bit more of a environment, right? Because I'm still, you know, I'm still not sure what's going to be here. How am I going to deal with it? What to put there? So maybe I'll just set this guy and then I'll move that one, or I'll just move them back and forth, however, whatever is going to work better for me. Or not for me necessarily, for composition, what would be a better solution. All right. There are Christmas songs playing outside. Jingle bells being, you know, precise. Okay. So let me think about maybe a little bit about the position of that's not gonna work. The draperies that I have here, they're cool looking, but they're not really, They show movement, but not the one that I'm trying to, describe. unfortunately. Hmm. And I don't want to repeat the same position, the same movement with the legs and hands and so on and so forth. So this might be a little tricky. So see, this is a good example. Let's do this. Let me just maybe draw, not necessarily outline, but let me draw a let me think about that weight distribution, perhaps. That's what I'm trying to say. So he's going to push himself forward. So let me grab my charcoal. So he would be trying to make the proper size of a head. 1, 2, 3. All right. So if my head is going to be this size, I only have to make it wider to make it look bigger. I don't necessarily need to go. Yeah, so let's get into this. So I'm going to over-exaggerate this, the size of his head. I'm sorry, the saturation, rather. That's what I wanted to say. The saturation of the pigments, and the reason why I'm oversaturating it, you already know probably, but I have to actually remind this to myself all the time. I am over exaggerating this, and I am okay with this, because I know that as I will apply more and more information, more and more detail, I will get lost in monochromatic painting. So before anything else, I'm just going to make him look like like really funky. And like you said, I am not really thinking about anything specific. I'm just looking on the size and position of the shape that later on will resemble, hopefully will resemble a. I'm going to push his head maybe even lower. I mean, not the head lower, but he's looking down, right? I was checking these Volga's boatmen that we talked about with Ilya Repin, and it's kind of it needs a little bit more of that kind of a feel. So when you're thinking anatomically, instead of putting eyes halfway through, I'm putting eyebrows, or maybe even you know, where's my well, let me just grab my skull perhaps, and it's going to be easier. So what I'm doing right now, so this is where would be where you know, when we are looking straight, but he's like this. And the reason I don't want his head to be like this, what I'm trying to do is just to move him forward, because when we walk, right, the feeling of walking is that we are falling. Well, not feeling. We think that we are walking, but basically what we do, it's a controlled fall that we stopped at the end. I talked about this a lot. So instead of painting his head this way, if this is from profile, I'm just going to tilt it a little bit more, you know. So automatically, visually, if done correctly, automatically, visually, I should be able to, you know, like kind of evoke that kind of a. And I'm trying to link this also towards another figure that it's which is one of the two main figures, the figure on the right, thematically. And then this should probably go, in that case, a little bit more out, because I widened the head, right? So I should widen the shoulders as well, which is going to make him bigger. That's okay, because when I'm thinking about it, I can make him as big into this shape as I want to, and it's not going to change anything, because I know that this is the sky shape and this is another figure. So I'm just going to take a little bit more from that figure behind. It's not going to change the overall composition, the overall shape, right? So I have some leeway when it comes to these adjustments. And let me pair this guy with him immediately, so I work a little bit more in terms of visual imagery, right? So he's going to be somewhere here. So that's another head. So I'm making myself these little notes that may or may not stay there. But imagine, why would I paint the full face here? Like, what would be the sense? It doesn't make sense. And we still do this. We still go for that. We're still just, we're still trying to, like, the eyes and the nose and mouth are not going to change anything when they are in the wrong position. Mirror. Yeah, and that would solve that issue that kind of not necessarily bothered me, but I was afraid of. And that's that he's just going to fall into the center of the painting. But me pushing his head a little bit more this way kind of creates a little bit of that, just a little bit of diagonal. Enough to have perhaps put his leg this way. So he's leaning forward, but he's leaning that way. But I'm not thinking about, well, this is actually another important kind of idea. Because I'm thinking three-dimensionally, right? But I'm on two-dimensional surface. So this is a canvas, And strictly visually, I'm creating this diagonal, or like a formally speaking about the composition. But it is not, when you think about three-dimensionally, my brush right now, it's not leaning this way. My brush is leaning forward. You see how it kind of falls into that perspective of that line, just leaning it forward. That's what I'm thinking about. It's not left and right. And this is you really have to have a spatial awareness, spatial awareness, yes. When it comes to this, because like I said, it might visually, strictly compositionally speaking, two-dimensionally, flat surface speaking, this is a straight, and I draw it this way, but I didn't draw it like this. What I'm trying to do is, instead of having it this way, I am moving it this way. And you can see that, the shadow is showing it right now, but you see it moving it diagonally this way. I can move it when I'm on the flat surface this way only, but I'm thinking that it moved forward. Right, you see the difference? I don't know if you can see. This is like over-exaggerated. It's almost pointing into my head right here. But I can do the same thing, just moving my hand this way, and it's pointing toward my head. So two-dimensional and three-dimensional representation of these flat shapes is the same when it comes to painting, because I'm working only with two-dimensional surface, but I have to think about creating that illusion that something going towards me, right? I kind of started to think about this a little bit more when I think it was in it was like a physics lecture, I believe, and they were explaining fourth dimension. So there is a one dimension which is dot, there is a second dimension, there is two dimension which is line, or a square in our case, I'm sorry, a square, it's a line, and then there's a square, and then it's a cube, right? So the physics, they think about it in terms that and you should watch a proper video on this, because it's really nicely explained, and you might type into a whatever YouTube video that you prefer, or whatever language, but I think that almost you can find it almost instantly, is that explanation from 2D to 3D to 4D visually, and they will just explain it very nicely. But basically it is that in 2D world, you can go left and right, up and down, and you don't see volume. You can't perceive the volume. So it means that if there's a, I think it was they were talking about, I don't know, ant or person, it doesn't really matter. So this is a ground plane. Let me just erase this. So this is a ground plane, and there is a circle right here, or sphere, and there is an ant. And if ant wants to get to another side, it has to go up this way. In three-dimensional space, he could simply go around it. How would I even describe it? I don't want to confuse you, but I'm looking for proper words. Let me do this one more time. So this would be the idea that the ant, it's going, or the dot, let's call it dot, it's going here, it doesn't even see a circle. I see a circle, but from a point of view of two-dimensional world, it would be just a line. No, one more. I got it. I'm trying to explain it because the moment when you are able to explain it, it means that you fully understand that. So there is an ant or the thing, and it's right here, and there is a circle. And we are looking from the top right here. So would be the good example. And I should not spend that much time with this. I can actually use this. I will need it anyway. So we're looking from the top, and you can see it from the top. So this is in his way. So two-dimensionally, it cannot go up and this way, right? So it cannot go up like on top of hill and then downhill and back. In two-dimensional space, it needs to go around if it wants to go to the other side. Finally, I got it. Took me a while. I felt very... Yes, exactly. What you're saying is that how 4D being would be able to work around 3D world in a way that we couldn't understand easily, just like how he described 2D versus 3D. You're absolutely right. Thank you again for being here and saving the day, because I was starting to get sweaty and I would probably get socially awkward very soon. So I appreciate it. Thank you. So that same thing is, and when I said that you should be spatially aware, that's the problem that when I'm talking about shapes sometimes with another colleagues or students, they think about I'm moving left and right, but in reality I'm moving back and forth in three-dimensional space on that axis that has a depth of field. We can awkward together if needed. Perfect. Yes, yes. So let's pretend that two awkward makes one non-awkward, right? It's like that very famous saying, two bad things together doesn't make it good, right? So it's just we're going to pretend that two awkwardness together is going to add up, and it's going to make one sufficient answer. I like it, and I'm going to stick with it. So let me check it out. This is and again, I'm not really concerned about paint right now. I'm thinking more about the value and the shape and the movement. So I just know that this should be maybe light value right here, because like I said, I want a dark against light and light against dark. We cancel out the social awkwardness. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking about. See, it's already working. It's already working. And I'm thinking about the shoulder right now, and I'm thinking about the silhouette. And how far do I need to go out? Perhaps somewhere here. And then just to push this, maybe he could have a hand right here. It's the hand. I'll do. And I will support it with I will increase that diagonal, that balance, by pushing this hand right here. Can I do that? Like so? Of course, who's going to stop me? Right, so I'm going to push this. And this needs to go. Okay. So I'm mixing I like to call this my charcoal pigment. And I need to bring more pigments. So I need raw sienna, Ooh, there is some red there as well still. Is this too much? Is he looking like he's moving or he's falling? That's a very important question. And when you play with these things, it's just you should be very careful. And you can see that I'm working with I'm working only with not random shapes. I'm designing the shapes the way that I like them, rather than just drawing hands or arms or anything like that. I'm working with a silhouette, and let me grab this. And I am using right now 2 brushes because I have, dark against light and light against dark. So I have one dark, one light. And maybe I could reinforce this here and make this a little straighter this way. So he's not, because I want him to be exaggerated, that movement, but not to the point that he's really falling. So maybe this would be like a better a little bit more here. Dissolve the soft edge. And the hand could be balancing it right here, perhaps. Like so. Okay. So I'm working only with the shape. So you can see that it's a shape. And right now, you see the darkness of the shape, it's automatically just jump out from the canvas. And you would be like, oh, this is just, no, you would be. A couple of years ago, I would never be able to do this because I would be looking, well, it's fighting against each other. Okay, but I know that this needs to go darker. So just to make myself being all right and not freak out, I'm just going to make it darker. But also, I'm not going to make it darker randomly, right? I'm just going to give it like a little bit of sense, right? Because I want these figures to be a little bit more present there. What I don't know is how to create where would be that how to create that motion again, that I was talking about, because there is a there's the leg going forward. And they seem like they're using both of their legs the same way, but that's okay. Right now, I can adjust it later. I'm just looking at the shape and thinking about what that shape, how it's going to relate to a painting. You can see how abstract this is. And I'm, more and more hours I have with, more and more experience I have, more comfortable I feel doing these random things, not being afraid. This is something that I would really call painting, because I am not thinking about lines, right? So, well, I do think about lines, but right now they are more like they are not outlines in between where I'm going to think, oh, this is arm. I'm thinking right now, okay, I am going right here. This would be a shoulder, and I have a reference for the anatomy where the rib cage is, where the position of the head would be. So you're thinking about like this is going to be the opening, right here where the neck is. So shoulder should be probably a little lower, right here, right? Because he looked again, and that's my problem, because for some reason I like a little bit more higher putting the shoulders, because I like that kind of a shape here. But in the reality, arms, when I'm standing straight, like look how big of a distance is between my shoulder and the chin. And I'm usually doing this, like every one of my figures is without the neck. So it would be here, and then the anatomy goes like so, this way. And I have to correct this one again right here. Right? You see, like I'm really, and imagine that you already painted, you have the same problem with yours. It's just, for some reason, because I'm not thinking about a human, I'm thinking about the pleasing shape, and I really hate the head and then the neck in this position, and then suddenly from nowhere, almost like from 90 degrees, it's going line that are shoulders. Somehow in that position, it doesn't feel right to me visually. But I have to take that into consideration. But coming back to what I was talking about, this is really about me just, this is what I call painting. This is why I said that there is a difference between drawing and painting. Right now I paint. I'm using everything that I learn when it comes to drawing, but I'm applying it freely and worrisome, or whatever the proper. Just call them the aliens? Yes, that's a perfect suggestion. Speaking about the aliens, I'm just gonna go on another rant about aliens. I don't know, you might know, I probably talked about this a couple times, that I'm not really a conspiracy or hoax person, but for fun, strictly from fun, just entertain myself, I followed what's happening with that with the U.S. government, and November 17, I think that they had that hearing about the aliens and about UAPs. I would say, how come this is not in every news outlet everywhere, that in the government they're talking about that they have, like they're suspecting that something is penetrating that airspace and so on and so forth. I am flabbergasted about that. Why is nobody talking about this? Is it right? And naturally, right? I always wanted to be it true, because it's just those are aliens. And it almost seems like finally when they said that we have aliens, nobody believes them. It's like, no, it has to be hoax. It's just almost like we're pre-programmed to automatically assume that everything is hoax, and that was the first thing. And I am really, really, I'm the first one that should be blamed for this. The first thing I was like, nah, they're just saying this because there is nothing interesting happening. It's just for some reasons immediately I was, nah, it can't be true. We were pressing them so hard and so long to just give us this information and tell us that we are not alone. So finally we can have some other planet to be to blame for our own mistakes. We need this so much. It was just like, I don't believe you. I think that you're lying to me. It's that, you know, kind of like a natural defense system mechanism. So yeah, they actually could be aliens. You're absolutely right. That's what I was trying to say. I don't want to spread any hoax or any, you know, weird ideas about government conspiracies or anything like that. It's just it was congressional hearing. There is a people there. They swear under the oath, or, you know, I know that it means nothing these days, but still, you know, just, you know. And I was talking about this with my friends, and they're like completely, no, we haven't heard anything. Yeah, so exactly. So aliens are among us, and spooky music start playing. Exactly. Nothing happened. People are like, nah, no, something else. Give me something else. Give me something else I can, I can, I can disprove or, you know, talk about every day. I don't want truth. I just want these random ideas. It was just I really find these things amusing. So what if I just, okay, maybe I should push this little lighter instead of darker. What about this guy right here? Is he here? And is this guy right here? I have them equally. You see how my brain is just really like this, and this is the same distance. Why am I doing this? I don't understand that. Why am I doing this? Like what's the meaning behind this? I'm gonna write the comments. Yeah, it seems like when they released that they actually expected people to react that way, to cover it up even more. But yeah, like you, I'm not in the hoax or conspiracy. Still find interesting and entertaining to think about. Yeah, it's just really, I'm not saying that, you know, I don't have a horse in this race. I don't want to go outside and just, you know, telling everybody, see, I was right, I told you they're here. And, you know, no, it's not about that. It's just out of, like, philosophically speaking, I like that idea. In my head, for my own personal entertainment, it's just, if it's not true, it's not true. I'm not going to throw fade. I'm going to say, yeah, you were right. It's just, I like that idea that maybe I could travel to another planet to explore and see more things. I simply like that. And as it seems right now, in my lifetime, while I'm here, I won't be able to do it. But if aliens come here, they can take me, perhaps. You know, that's how I think about it. That's the only. It's just. You know, it's just I like. I don't know. I like space things, right? So that's the only reason I would like to go to space very, very much. Very, very much. Yeah, you're absolutely. That's exactly what I'm thinking. With our current technology, it's impossible, but with aliens, that's possible. So my only chance to go to space in my lifetime, and travel to another, let's say, galaxy, or whatever, you know, whatever, however far they might be, it's to believe that they exist. It has no rational thing. I understand that. I'm totally cool with that. I'm not going to be, you know, right now screening a sky with my telescope every day. I don't even have a telescope, but I wouldn't listen to radio waves, and you know, it's not like that. If they're here, they're here, and if I have a chance to, you know, to hang out with them, I would love to. And can you imagine that we have a scapegoat that we can blame, like a whole planet, every other problem on some other thing? It's just we would maybe get together, you know, because enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? So, and since we like to blame, it would just solve a lot of problems. It would be cool. And then I could fly away and be like, all right, bye. So what if maybe if I put some faults right there, and you can see these are all abstract shapes. Yeah, I'm going to read your comments again. Let's say my daydreaming took me as far as living with them on other planet. A smiley face, all advanced technology and their culture. Painting is probably more advanced. You can produce colors on fly with nano engineering pigments or something. Smiley face. Yes, you're absolutely right. I would like to go. I would like to see something. I would like to be, you know, I like that adventure, and that's maybe why I like to paint, because it's giving me all these possibilities, you know, of creating my own stories, having my own fun with, you know, with things that I know that are not real, but they're interesting. And it, you know, like I said, painting does not always need to be this. And for the longest time, I thought that it has to be, but I realized that it doesn't have to be always this, like deep philosophical meaning that is just, it's profound and celebrated and so on and so forth. I really thought that at the beginning I thought that that's the meaning behind the painting, and today it's really just, it doesn't have to be necessarily the most revolutionary idea, as long as I communicated with you what I wanted to. But then again, when it comes to, so I can have fun with, you know, with paintings, and then see what's good, and not being pressured. But like I said before, I would, it comes it comes into that territory that but I don't want to do not necessarily mediocre paintings, but rather I'll do that bad painting with aliens that everybody's gonna be like, dude, you are just, it's not subject for a classical oil painting. What are you doing? Well, it isn't. Or maybe it wasn't, but now it is, because I'm doing it, so. I'm thinking that maybe I'm pushing this a little too much, but you know, why not? I just want to, right now with this particular thing, I just really want to risk it all. And the reason why I'm saying that I want to risk it all is because I think that, you know, in my head, in my memory of this figure that I have right here, I am afraid that I'm recalling the figure that is behind with the main on the main canvas, because I kind of have a feeling that I'm doing very similar pose. So let's see how good. Let's see whether or not I'm right, and if I'm right, I should be careful with creating this. I think that I'm going a little too much towards the figure that I already painted, the very similar position. So this is a good exercise for me. Remember, long time ago we talked about that. There is a very good exercise when it comes to painting from life, to actually set your subject on one side and then look at it and then go and paint to another room or another studio or another atelier, and then go back and try to memorize everything that is important, and then paint and then move and paint, and then go back and forth, and try to kind of really push that memory. And it's not about the memory, more about prioritization. What's the most important that you need to look at? And it shows you also your mistakes, that this is what I thought that I see, and that's the reality. Maybe push that lighter value there. And you can see, like, these are extremely abstract shapes, extremely. But slowly it's starting to, you know, starting to take shape, maybe. I think I'm good here. When I'm, you know, I'm thinking that his legs might be all the way here, even lower, which is awesome. But no one's going to care about that, because, you know, I'm going to put some flowers there, or like a high grass, so that's okay. I still don't know how to do it. I have to figure it out. But I like that shape, the V shape right there. It should probably reflect nicely to what's happening behind the canvas. And right now I have to figure it out how to work with this. So it doesn't, you know, so I don't space them equally. Do I have some references for this? I don't know. I don't know if I do. Hmm. Yeah, I don't think I have this. Because what I don't know how to do, not necessarily that I don't know how to do. Oh, what if I do this? Well, I can't do that. I cannot do that. I cannot do that. I cannot do that. Hmm. It's going to be extremely difficult for me to find a way to um, not necessarily that it would be extremely difficult. It's just I'm looking for um, how do I show, because this is something that is really, when it comes to like a fabric, and especially when you have a monks, that they have the, you know, they all have the same like a robes or very similar robes, to find a nuances and differences. And like I said, I have faces and I have a very limited way of turning them and positioning them. And you know, it's the same thing when people are walking. They usually don't walk like this, right? Because that's not, you know, I can't really add it there. And then also another thing that is very same, it's a clothes. So there is another problem with that. So there's so many things that kind of goes kind of goes against me, which is not bad, which is not a problem. It's just this is where a composition is so important to work very well. So you then are not kind of annoyed by the same repetition, because it works as a unity. It works as a whole. That you're visually not separating these things, right? So you're not separating one robe uh, uh, from another. You're looking at it as one continuous shape, and rather than examine a folds and mistakes and so on and so forth, you're thinking about like the graphic shape. maybe if I hmm. I think I'll have to really, really get more into that improvisation probably again, and trying to find, trying to find and what if I do this actually to show that difference, that maybe he could have a cross right here. And maybe I could push this a little bit. Let's try that. Let's try this. And again, this is just something that I'm thinking about. That again, I could cut it more here and push it a little bit more here. But then that would mean that I need a different leg to push forward. I like this shape a little bit more. Nope, 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 nope. This is like this. This almost feels like a key decision that is going to influence everything. I don't know if that's. I think I'm, again, overthinking it a little bit. But that movement, it's really important for me to have it there. So and again, it's just when I'm looking at right now different, I have different references for walking, and it's just walking is such a, it has to be done with a just a pure shape. I can't really do anything about this. So let me see. And I'm sorry, I got a little quiet because it's taking a lot of my brain power actually. So my apologies for this. So let me see, I would push it here. All this could be in a this is where the this is where I need to work. I really need to work with that. I am okay with this shape right now, right here. That's cool. I really enjoyed to look at this position for him. And he's kind of he's nicely blending into a background. But this main figure, not really a fan. Not really a fan. So what if I do this? Maybe it's just maybe it's the head. Maybe it is that head. Like I said, maybe I'm just overthinking it a little too much. It might be the case. And if I move it to a different direction, okay. New idea, new idea. So let's test it. Let's test it because this might be. So I wanted to push it that way. Because I'm trying to, because I was also thinking about what, with this, what is here, him, and this guy right here. So it's just, again, the diagonal that's happening. But what if I change it and I go this direction right here? And this like is going to go forward rather. Would that be a problem? This is what I mean, this diagonal right here. Yeah, it is. It is. I'm just going to read your comment because I'm not. Because it seems like I'm just I'm talking to myself. This one seems to like challenging pose to pull off compared to left canvas, the figure who's looking up with the sign. Yeah, you're absolutely right, and it is because I already I created in my head. I already have a story. Like I said, it's not always. You know, my camera is working today. What else do I want? I can't have my camera and have all the creativity at once. You know, so that's what it is. And we talked about the fact that that you can't just come to studio and ask for creativity to just show up just because you are here. So that's why I come to studio every day, because yesterday was way more active, way more. But this is going to be better, I think, to have it on the other side. So this is going to be a leading foot, because I think that I could push it a little bit more here, because I felt that I need a little bit more of this. And then I can bring actually a lighter value here. I didn't squeeze that yellow ochre. Again, just working abstractly, trying to find a way around to this. And then maybe there would be a I could push the hand here rather, because I have this. So it started to look like I'm painting the same figure, back, front, and you know, the front, middle, and background at the same time. So I'm kind of repeating the same pattern, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that. And then it hit me really, really hard when I wanted to put when I decided that maybe I should put a cap on his head, and then it immediately it's a figure behind the canvas. The main figure, actually, from the main. Yeah, simple. I'm just going to think simple when it comes to this, instead of creating these complicated ideas right now. So, yep. A question is he going to have a so there will be a gap right here. So perhaps this guy could be slightly darker. Right here, you see this shape right here. So right now it looks like something that grows out of his shoulder, like from Men in Black 3. So I have to be careful with that. And then perhaps, ooh, I know, I'm going to give him this direction, and that belt. The belt saves the day, the belt. The belt saves the day. See, I knew it. I can have a belt going right here somewhere. It's just somehow it's going that direction. Yep, the belt saves the day. The belt saves the day. Now we're cooking with gas. So I could push this. I could push this, and this is going to be this is going to be inside of the hand, inside of the arm right here. Okay. Yep. Outside the folds. Yep. We are there. We're there. And his other arm, this one could go closer. And this is all going this direction. Yep. Okay, so this, and then here I will just push it this way. So, yep. So it's going up here, maybe even higher up, maybe I can push it all the way here. And then push this from here through, yep. Cool, and I'm gonna push him. Let's see what will happen if I push him all the way down low. Right here. Did I build it too much? Okay, that's too much. But it's too much because it's not compositionally right, or because the head is right now. It might be the fact that a head is right now too small. Let me adjust the head. And the size of the head right here. It's still too much. That means that I could push the head if I do this. And then put let's do this. Yeah, I'm just thinking right now about what's possible. Maybe just a simple shape right here, and then that actually might work. I need a little bit more vermilion. I'm sorry, I completely forgot what's happening right now around me, only because this was, and again, over and over the same problem. I can't even imagine that I would place and move and then push the head and it would be completely developed, and then I would be devastated. I would be devastated if I painted a nice head, and then I would have to change that head only because it's in the wrong position. It's just it can't be happening. Well, actually, it can, but I don't think it's right. Let me move this right now because I need to see what's happening here and how much. So you're gonna see it sooner than I do, so don't tell me what's happening. Whether or not it's working. Don't tell me, don't tell me. No, I have to make him smaller. It cannot go all the way down because remember I told you about this and this. Well, what if I, okay. Let me squeeze a little bit more paint. Let me squeeze a little bit more paint here. And see how far I can push it. And I need a bit of vermilion. Oh, I'm running out of vermilion as well. So that's a no-no here right now. More vermilion. How can I paint without vermilion? Yeah, I'm running out of that. It's going to be another pleasant surprise for me the moment I get to cash register. So this shape kind of works right here. But it has to stop right there. So, not has to, it should. So let me grab this. Um, I have to I have to start reading these comments a little bit more often. I'm gonna read them right now. You're making me nervous with all pigments going out, especially your favorite pigment. This stream is starting to turn into something like, can he finish this project before he runs out of the paint? That's awesome. Well, can he? We don't know. We don't know. Well, but I hope that you are. I hope that you are. Um, I hope that you are enjoying this, because this is probably a great lesson to what I'm talking about. That it's just. I don't know how to say this. I really, really think about composition. And it's really important for me to define the proper way of, of describing certain things. And I use impasto pigments because, those impasto, no, not impasto pigments. I'm applying paint, with a certain, how would I even put this? I don't know how to say this. I am trying to, I'm lost for words, because I'm trying to figure it out how to compose this properly. It's just, you should really figure things out on the smaller scale. That's why sketches are important. But since this was kind of a random exercise on our bed painting Friday, I didn't really have a chance to figure these things out. So I am just, I'm just having fun. But then the moment when you start seeing how it's starting to develop a little bit, and you're starting to see some shapes that you like, or some ideas that you like, then it's difficult to just abandon that. So I have to not have to. I should. If there would be a hill right here behind, that might work as well. It's just it's right now it's a fun way of painting, because, like I said, I love to paint. But when you really think about this is I don't want to say this is a waste of money. It isn't, but it's irresponsible. But if you are, that kind of the technical narrative enthusiast, and you like to see, and you are taking. Not that necessarily you are taking pride when it comes to being able to repaint bad things on your composition, but more like enjoying that process of changing things and developing and seeing how it moves left and right, then it isn't. But if you prefer to have everything figured out before you go to do anything else, this might be difficult for you to watch, actually. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, this adjustment, I think this might work. Okay, it's gonna go here and then there, and I can still deploy this. I think it still can work. I am confident that this still might work, even though I was not satisfied with that from get-go. So again, you remember I went from optimistic and happy and chattery and everything is awesome, to being quiet, because I saw something, and you remember I did the same mistake on the other side with the portrait. I saw something and I just ran with it because why not, right? It's a bad painting Friday every day. It's just, it didn't work. It's okay, it's cool, I'm not crying. I would be crying if I move forward with this and wouldn't be, not necessarily brutally honest, but be, realistic about what's happening here, right? So I am just going to be realistic about this. I'm not going to let myself on that, like a slippery slope about everything's going to be all right. I'll just need to push more details in, and things gonna play out. And that, I think, might be something that creates. I don't even know how to address this, but maybe if I. This might be, how would I put this? I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure it out. So many. I'm juggling with too many, too many bowling pins at once, and I have to. Hopefully this is not going to change anything, because the battery is low in my camera. What I'm discovering right now, that I made the same mistake. I started with adjustments that they were not necessarily wrong, but they were rushed. Only because I felt that I see something. I really truly, and this is not a problem. I'm not angry about that. Nothing like that. It's just there is a better way to do this than just going with a large canvas with the big brushes. No, I don't want to say that being crazy, but you can figure all this out with the sketch. That's what I'm trying to say. These large shapes and the position and the movements. You don't have to struggle with this. And this is what I'm going to do again today. It's a big red flag for me. I already done that twice, right? So I did it here with the portrait. I started to move things because I was like, I am going to do this. I had to stop myself because it was rushed, and rushed not because I would I would paint quickly. It was rushed because I I was excited with that idea and I ran with it, which is not bad. I just have to know that, okay, I tried it, I tested it, didn't really work out for this particular painting. It might have been working out for a different painting. It didn't for this one. It didn't. Simply, that's what it is. But I realized something that perhaps, and see, this is why I like to do this so much, because there is an opportunity for me here to maybe, like you see this little mark right here. Let me push it a little harder. There might be some other figures in the distance. It might really show the distance. You see like how it pushed it all the way in the background? Only because I want to offset that heaviness on this side, which is not bad, but it was not only, the problem is that not only I pushed everything here, which was replicated by this idea, but I also wanted to put them on the same horizontals, and it's just too much of repetition for me to be honest. But right now, when I'm looking at it as a whole thing, with when it's next to each other, right now it's making a little bit more sense to me, and with those two dots in the background, even more. It's kind of balancing, it's kind of pushing that, because I have these verticals, right, which are the figures, and you can see them all over the place. I have diagonals that you can see going through here with the gestures, with the objects, right? Him I'm trying to put into diagonal. He's in the diagonal, and then right now I have the calming horizontal here again that goes across the whole thing. It feels right now it's unifying it a little bit more. And yesterday you might have seen me to be adjusting this, because I have that feeling that I need to calm that painting, and I kind of, it's like you are taking a thread and you are threading it through and trying it connected, right? Like with the tapestry. That's what I was looking for, like a tapestry. And not only that, maybe I could give them a little, and this is going to be crazy rash decision, but since I don't have a problem with this, I can always get rid of it tomorrow. I have that gold, and gold right here. I know that you can't see it, but maybe you can, I'm not sure. But somehow you see the diagonal that is created not visually with strong saturated yellow, and strong saturated yellow here. I could even push it and maybe put some mark right there, just to enforce that idea. I don't know if that's necessary, but the reason for this right here, it could be there's really someone that is really back behind, can be even two, and because they might be carrying something, or they're trying to join them. It's another part of the story that I can come up with, only to make an excuse to connect these things. And you can see right now, you can see the vastness, the distance, because this is a full figure right here of this size, which is the size of his eye, right? So they are really far away. They're really far away. I can imagine them being like, "Yo, wait for us. you are, we are tired and out of breath. We got a gold, you need us." Yes, you're absolutely right. It could be. It doesn't have to be, what it could be. It also gives that, it also kind of shows you that, and another thing is that, you know, there is almost like naturally I would put even one more, another one. And I have to stop myself because then I would destroy the composition. I can tell you that, because again, it would be balanced, because it would go from one side of the canvas all the way to another side. I am leaving this whole area to them and to you to enter and join, perhaps not visually, but more philosophically. That emptiness, the vastness of a space. And also, like I said, when it comes to the journey of and paint, and my journey when I started to paint, I clearly remember when I was here. I remember it like it was yesterday. While I was watching leading figures in the studio or my masters just being light years ahead of me, light years. Plus, you know, I was talking about that symmetry and not repeating itself. Another reason why I need these figures here probably is because when I'm looking at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, there's another figure here, so it would be 6. Check this out: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7. Luckily, whew, almost. No, what am I? Yeah, 7. So let me count them right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, no, we're good. We're good. I was worrying that I have same amount of figures, or I'm planning to have same amount of figures on the both sides. Oh, I feel way better right now. I was lost for a second. I'm so happy that it was caught on camera again. Not because I'm taking pride into this. No, quite the contrary, I feel embarrassed. But here's the thing. I told you at the beginning, it's a disclaimer, I'm gonna make mistakes. You should learn from my mistakes. You should really think about these ideas. And especially because okay, that's a little too naive. I need to make the eyes a little bigger so I can judge the proportions correctly. Like I said, you're supposed to make, no, I can't put this here because, see, I put the line right here, and check this out. The distance from here to here is the same than from here to here. And it's probably the same than from here to here, and it's the same than from here to here. So I cannot put this line right here. No more yellow stuff right here. I mean, there is so many things, and the more I'm looking at it, the more I'm actually at this stage. What I'm doing right now, just to make sure that, and this maybe could go higher up a little bit. So I'm still going to put that rope right there, but it's supposed to be right here, and it's going to be this way. Yeah, that's going to be better. So hear me out with this. More and more I'm looking at this right now, as a whole, I am starting to slowly, go through my checklist. So the head position, the movements, the size, the directions, and the alignments right now, right? So not only vertically, not only about verticals and horizontals, but also distances between the elements that I want you to look at. Unity within the variety, variety within the unity. It's the name of the game right now, and it's going to take me a while to go through the whole checklist. And more importantly, even though I will go through the checklist, I don't think I will be 100% satisfied immediately. Because there are things that I wouldn't be able to see. Or I won't be able to see, rather, I'm sorry. And this is that honest part that I think that it's very difficult. So let me make this a little bit less, What time is it? I don't even know what time is it right now. Oh, I still have time because suddenly it got really dark here. And I don't know if it was because I went to in the dark place when it comes to painting, or just sun decided, oh, this is getting bad. This guy is just he's on the ropes. We should stop him. No one is telling him in the discussion that, dude, you are on the collision course with your own self. So the sun saved me. Sun was like, nah, man. I'm just trying to unify the pigment a little bit, or shape, I'm sorry, because there is, again, a lot of brush strokes, a lot of everything, so let me just calm it down a little bit. So it's not about the brush strokes, it's more about the overall shape, because I got carried away. But it's okay, it's a nice experiment, it should be like that. I shouldn't be complaining about that. Okay, so I can go a little lighter here on top, and this is fine because I'm creating these random layers underneath that. When I go into it's going to create these. When I come in with that sandpaper that I like so much, it's just going to be. Oh yeah, this is works way better right now. Works way better. Let me put that rope there as well. And I'm gonna, again, because it's dark, I'm just going to use a light pigment. And again, I'm gonna push the diagonal with the rope. So hopefully this is going to be okay right here. And then maybe it could go like this direction right here. Maybe, I don't know yet. And there is a lot of, because there is a lost edge everywhere. So let me find this edge perhaps. So I'll work with the silhouette a little bit. of his. So I have something to work with, some direction. Right, so I have one concrete there, a direction, and I know it looks weird right now. That's all good, we're all good, because I'm going to push the hand right here, right now, with this. And there's going to be a hand right here, maybe. Yep. Maybe I could push this a little lighter here. That it might work, it might not work. So a little bit of that greenness right here. So it shows the, and the reason why I pushed the little light mark there, it's because I want to, this might go darker, perhaps. So let me show you what I mean. This might go darker and then lighter again. So this is his sleeve right here. And I know I'm standing weird because I can't see myself. I have a lot of reflection there. But this is not about, you know, exact preciseness. I just want to place the pigment there so I can see what's happening. Okay, yeah. It's gonna work. It has to. So this is his waist right here. So it's gonna go up right here. This is his shoulder. Right here. Movement here. And these are all, you know, what we talked about, deep or uncut grass, you know, when it's like a deeper in that. Which means that I could push this guy right now. Just a touch. As I was talking about, just a touch lower. Somewhere right here. So I will avoid the same size. And he can go even more down. His legs, actually, what I'm thinking about right now, the size of a head. So it's one more time. So I have from 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is where the mid is. yeah, I'm almost there where I want it to be. Cool. Okay, so I felt that it might go outside, but no, it's cool. It's right there, and I have to show a little bit that it's showing through the garment right here. Just a little bit. And maybe just a touch here. It's like a little visual clue. So when you're looking at it, you don't know exactly where he is, but you have some idea, some maybe not. I don't know. And I have to show his legs. I might have to show a little bit like a specific shape right here for his. Let me just make a little note there for myself. And maybe here I need to put the foot down. Maybe finger or something, only because I want to show his feet, but this guy, we're not going to see a feet of this guy. It's going to be deeply in that tall grass. And on my original sketch, as they go here, these guys, there is a road behind them which is connected, and there is like a crisscross right here because they are at the intersection and they have to make a decision. So yeah, we're good here. We are good. No worries, no worries. Disaster. Might be happening, but not yet, not yet. So let's do cheeks and let's do nose. Too many things in my head. Yeah, and it's dark and I can't see anything. All right, let's look at this. Let's really look at this. Oh, you can't see the whole composition together because my camera, it's in the way, but I'll just move it a little bit so you have a better visual. Oh, this is where it's supposed to be. I was wondering, like, how come you can't see it as a whole thing when before you could? All right. Okay, I will have to probably, since tomorrow that's a good progress, you think? Well, despite some struggles, yes, that's how I think about that. That there is a progress there, and you know, I always talk about these things over and over and over again, and it's the same idea right now as well, and that's that. I tested it, I tried it. It didn't go exactly as I planned. That's okay. I am not, you know, it's not end of the world. And I'm trying not to stay in the way, so you can, and I'm standing, right? So you can see it as a whole. And right now, I need to set up a mirror because I can't really see it. I have to find a way how to set up a mirror differently because I have no way to put it away even more. No, but I think that compositionally, it's working, not ideally, but it's going to work. So I have him lower. So that will give me a space. Okay, that will give me a space. To maybe push him here. Yeah, I think I have to get a little bit more concrete tomorrow. Oh, actually, no, tomorrow is a bed painting Friday, so let me count the heads right here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, he's exactly the same height as this guy on the other side. So maybe. Well, if I go with my original idea, pushing it towards this side, and put it here, still have a. Speaking of Bed Painting Friday, what's your plan for it? Well, I can ask that later. Don't let me distract you in analyzing your work. You know what? It's just you are not distracting at all. quite the contrary. You're actually helping, because I am thinking out loud, and I'm thinking also about the Bed Painting Friday, that we could work digitally as well, and we could try to figure it out this area right here to see what's work and what doesn't. It not necessarily have to be that way, but since we're, or maybe we can do some, maybe we could do some, a small Bed Painting Friday, one of those that, would go into frame, since it's a, or maybe we could do a Bed Painting Friday, digital, but some small still life. Think about like do all the things that I do when I paint, like some fruits or maybe some random objects. I don't know, what would you like to do? That's probably a better question. What would you like to do? Oh, so you have a tomatoes and vines? Oh, okay, perfect, perfect. So let's do that. Yeah, why not? Why not? You go with the flow. Well, wait. Well, okay, you'll go with the flow. That's pretty cool. But what if you you are your own. You have to do your own decisions. So maybe you should come up with some cool ideas. And I like the one with the tomatoes and tomatoes on vines, which is kind of that beautiful, nice, and even even the appropriate color combination, which is red and green. It's really nice. So we might definitely look into this. I might get some tomatoes myself. Maybe. I saw lychee or lychee. I think it's called lychee, like a fruit, in the store today. And I was thinking about actually, oh, that would be a cool thing to paint. It has like a weird textures, and it looks funky. So that was something that I was thinking about. Yeah. So definitely. Let's go for that. Let me get my flat knife. And then I think that another big factor is going to be tomorrow's weather. So let's see if weather allows me to paint traditionally. And if it's going to be dark, I'll do what I want to do traditionally. I'll just switch into a digital. So here is the thing. Maybe you remember I use like one or two. It's more about the concept and practice than setting up the long like 3 days or 5 days or week going still life. So maybe I can actually throw some drapery around and just paint the drapery. Seems like something that wouldn't be a Wouldn't be a bad idea. Okay. I'm just playing with the shape right now, and I'm looking for something a little bit more interesting. What's happening right here, maybe? And again, I'm softening some of these edges right now, because the same thing that I was thinking about when I was doing that underpainting is that this is still underpainting for me. This is still blank canvas. It is a blank canvas that is a little closer to related to what's happening here, but tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I'm still going to think about it as something new, and perhaps new idea is gonna emerge. Yeah, if you we can decide. We have tomatoes. I can always I have some tomatoes. I bet cherry tomatoes on wine myself. Also, I have draperies that I could use. I know we could do. Okay, all right. Maybe I have idea. It's gonna be surprise. Yeah, that might be cool as well. So I think I have to stop right now because I can't see properly anything right now. So it will be it for today. But it was, again, we discussed a couple of things, couple of important things actually. And now you're curious about that idea. Okay, so let's talk about that tomorrow idea that I have, and that will be it for today, because I really can't see. It's just, and you can see on my camera, it's just getting really laggy, because it's again trying to compensate for what's happening. So my idea is right now to perhaps I could use some of the elements that I have for that folk painting that I'm working on. So I could set up a little still life which has a little bit of drapery, a little bit of accessories, and do like a little nice study with the color, with the shapes, with ornaments, and so on and so forth. So that was the first thing that really popped into my head when I was thinking about drapery. So I'm not going to just drape something randomly. Perhaps I could use something that actually I'm going to paint, and try that color combinations and values and saturations and, like I said, patterns, and we can talk about that a little bit. That might kind of work, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to prepare something or set up something that would work in way that it would work the way that I could use it as a reference. So let me think about that. That's going to be. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to pretend that that's my main idea, and then we have a backup idea: quick tomatoes on wines with some other elements around. And if it's dark, we can do one or another digitally, which would be cool as well. Because I don't think I've ever done my preliminary painting study digitally. You know, it might be cool. I don't know, but since there is a Bed Painting Friday, there are no rules, no no pressure of doing anything spectacular. It's really just pushing, pulling, thinking about stuff, putting some random ideas on the canvas, same as I did yesterday, but perhaps with even more that kind of a mindset that there's nothing that there is no wrong answers. So let's see what I can put together. But I can't promise anything. It was just something that I thought about. And I wanted to say something and I forgot what I wanted to say. Most likely it wasn't that important if I don't remember it. One thing that I know that I want to say is that thank you for participating. Thank you for being here. Thank you for pushing that creativity forward. Thank you for helping me to overcome certain ideas. Thank you for suggestions, and hopefully this kind of a demonstration of how quickly things can go out of hand will be beneficial for you when you work on your own projects. And then I'm not worried about that because I know that it's oil paint. I know that I have Rembrandt, Velasquez, Caravaggio, Titian, Ilya Repin, Fashion, Chestukov, I don't know, Goya, Sorolla, all these great guys around me here, and they can help me out to figure it out how to fix it. So there is no problem at all. I know there is a lot of pigments that I used, but it's part of the process. One way or another, I would have to use those pigments. I would have to see how it looks. I would have to do all these adjustments. Not because I'm purposely making mistakes, but it's more about experimenting with these things. I need to see how these pigments mix together when I apply them. And again, I'm not afraid that I spend that much pigment because it's all right here. I am going to search and I'm going to use all that abstract pigment, abstract painting that I did today to my advantage. I am not worried. I'm not going to get into that stage of being depressed. Oh my God, I didn't do a best painting ever today. That is all good. Tomorrow is a Bed Painting Friday. I'm gonna do even worse tomorrow. So, in comparison, today it's kind of a cool day, right? So I'm not worried about this, nor should you, right? It is how it is. I did my best, and like I said, you cannot expect to have a perfect, creative, awesome. I show up in the studio. And I paint perfect paintings. That's simply not how it goes. But the most important thing is that I was here and I tried. So should you. You sat down, you pull up your canvases, your tablets, your clay, or pen and paper, and you tried to do something creative. And it made sense. It made sense to me to be here and do that because, like I said, this is a 90% of my work. Just moving things around, figuring them out, and not being worried about it. So please do not worry. Please just relax and be cool if things are not going the way exactly how you want. That's a part of that journey. That's a part of the pigment. And plus, it makes me feel alive because the honesty that I'm receiving from this experience or from the painting or from this project, it's incredibly important in long run, on the long run, Doesn't really matter. You got the idea. It is part of that education. It's that step. Painting has a really steep learning curve, extremely steep learning curve, and you can see that I am mumbling these words together only because today was extremely thinking heavy. I was trying to combine things. I was trying to calculate things, and I had to retrieve back to where I started. But it's okay, because one or two bad options were already eliminated. So, you know, when you look at it from this perspective, it was a successful day. There are two problematic issues that I tried and tested. They don't work. Okay, perfect. I don't need to go back to this anymore. For this particular painting, I'm keeping it in mind. I'm putting it into my visual library that I move from left to right to left again with the diagonals, only because I was looking for a best flow, the best narrative. And actually the title of this stream was Creative Solutions. And you know, creative solutions are not, it's not something that you can go and get in the store next to that beautiful vermilion that I'm using. It's just, you really have to fight for it, and you have to search for it. You have to be prepared when the opportunity presents itself. And if not, you know, at least you tried a couple things. So please continue painting. I'm gonna work on another project, probably Blender. No, actually not. I have private lessons right now. So I'm gonna be dealing with the private lessons right now. But if you still have time to continue with your work, please do so. And I'll be here tomorrow with Bed Painting Friday, which is you know, one of the coolest things, one of the things that I'm looking forward on when it's Friday. And we should probably do Bed Painting Monday, so I can look forward to Monday, because Mondays are really difficult. But that's in the future. So again, I'm very happy to paint alongside with you. Please stay cool, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.